welcome to episode 161 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg, and my co-host, Warren Sklar, here. How you doing, Warren?
I'm suffering. I got a little bit of a sinus infection, and I had a root canal done last week, and so I'm here just to get my mind off my head. But it's good to be here.
Oh, I'm glad you were able to make it and be here. We really appreciate it. And we also have back on the show, as always, we always love having him, Mr. Jeff Gamet. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing well, and thanks for having me back again. Warren, I'm sorry about your goober-filled head.
We could describe the taste if we get really bored later on, but it's not a fun day for me.
I think we should stick to talking about
iOS
popsicle shots.
Oh yeah,
no popsicle shots. I think we had to have a show title too. So we got some news this week. Actually, it's pretty active news this week. And then we're going to talk about Apple Watch a little bit. We haven't talked about that in a while, and I wanted to see what you guys, how you use your Apple Watch, and we're going to examine that a little bit. And talk some other things, got some tips, and we'll see where everything goes. But that's why everybody comes here to listen. So let's start off with the news as we'd always do. First story, Mac rumors. Apple remains largely absent in the U.S. smart speaker market. Apple remains largely absent in that U.S. speaker market, while Amazon and Google continue to dominate, according to data gathered by Consumer Research Intelligent Partners. Since 2017, Amazon has been the dominant company in the smart speaker market, with over 2/3 of smart speakers in the U.S. Homes being Amazon devices. Google's holds a 1/4 share, and Apple and Facebook have the remaining small share. And I'm kind of not surprised about this, just because now, obviously, the HomePod is now gone. You have that just at the HomePod Mini. So I would be curious to know where Apple is going to go with this smart speaker market, and is it going to continue? Jeff, what do you think?
I think Apple will stay in the market for a while, hopefully for a long while, because they're positioning HomePod Mini as an important part of their whole smart home platform.
Right.
But Apple was in the position of not being able to get market share for compared to what Amazon and Google have, because first, Apple was hitting a much higher price point. And then second, you couldn't get a HomePod just anywhere. Now that we have the HomePod Mini hitting the $99 price point, now more people will start buying into Apple's speaker platform. But Apple needs to decide just how serious they are about blanketing the market with the HomePod Mini, because right now, if you want to buy a HomePod Mini, you go through Apple or an authorized Apple reseller, which can be Best Buy and Target and
right.
Some other big places. But I can walk into Home Depot this evening now, and I can buy Amazon Echoes.
Right.
Yeah, I can get them along with screws and hammers and 2x4s. You can get them anywhere. So they're so easy to get, and they're very affordable compared to what the original HomePod was. Of course, they have more market share.
Well, it makes sense. It makes total sense. And again, it's speculation. It's someone trying to collect some data here, so we have to take that in mind too. But it makes sense. Any thoughts on this, Warren?
Yeah, I mean, Apple was first really to the Home Assistant Siri game. I think they came before Amazon's devices. Actually, Siri was out before the Amazon devices were starting out, and Siri just wasn't perfect at that point, and none of them are perfect. But Amazon came out with their smart assistant, and it was pretty darn good for what it was. And like Jeff was saying, you could get the devices anywhere. They're cheap. They were sending some of them were like almost free from Amazon. They were sending me, I just took a look at my stash. I have like 2 Amazon tablets just sitting there, that I just probably got for like 20 or 30 bucks or something like that. But you got to they're talking about market share, but now we got to decide what the end game is, because originally, the end game was to have these speakers in your home to use the services associated with the speaker, which Apple wanted to do with Apple Music. Amazon wanted to do with buying things on Amazon and Amazon Music. Same with Google. But now things are getting blurry, right? Because now Siri's allowing other. The HomePod is allowing other services to be used on the HomePod, and vice versa. So, so now we're talking, less about services and more about the profit margin on the actual devices that you're selling, right? Because you could technically buy a HomePod and not have Apple Music at this point. I think you could actually use it for other reasons, and you could technically buy an Amazon Echo, and I think actually. I read that it's going to allow Hey S Lady to work on the Echo very soon. I think they're opening up. There's some kind of consortium going on where you could actually control home devices from different from either to Google, Amazon, or Apple device. So I don't know if it's a bad thing at this point for Apple being low in the market share. I think they have to figure out what their goal is going to be for the devices.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go and move on here. And this article is, again, a Mac Rumors. Apple's promoting exclusive deals for Apple Card users in the Wallet app. And Apple this week has began highlighting exclusive offers that are available to Apple Card holders, with the offerings presented to the right of the wallet when accessing the card. This was noted by Bloomberg's Mark Gurman that Apple is going to offer free access to Apple News Plus and unlimited coffee with any order from Panera Bread. That's a good example of something that Apple may do. And I believe the feature is still being in the process of rolling out, but I think this is a smart way to get more, card members, and if they get people to join up with Apple Card. I'm very happy with the Apple Card. I've been using it since its inception, and it's been a very, very good card for me. Warren, do you use the Apple Card much? What do you think of this?
I think I got an email today about the offers, but I'll use the Apple Card to when my 14-inch and 16-inch MacBook Pro comes out. I'll be using it to get 3%. Get the 3% back, and then I'm pretty good at just paying it right off after I buy it. So.
Me too. What do you think, Jeff? Do you have an Apple Card?
I do, and the big news for me was that these deals and offers are a new thing, because I've been seeing like Panera offers and stuff like that for months in the Wallet app. So I didn't realize that we were getting something new.
Yeah, I guess it is going to be new, and look forward to seeing what they have to offer next.
Yeah.
T-Mobile is shutting down the Sprint LTE network in June 2022. T-Mobile is planning to shut down Sprint's LTE network in June of 2022. T-Mobile confirmed. And the shuttering of the LTE network is part of their effort to merge the two networks following the T-Mobile's purchase of Sprint. And of course, T-Mobile's been really, really emphasizing 5G, and that uses Sprint spectrums and towers, and it's aiming to shift the Sprint customers to the T-Mobile network and to the Sprint network. I was on Sprint at one time in my life. It was a very long time ago. It was actually, I think it was before the iPhone. So, because it was because I was on Sprint, and then the iPhone came out, and in 2007 and 2008, I bought the first iPhone, and I had to go to AT&T because
I was too.
They were exclusive.
And we had
exclusive.
I think we all did. We have the phone that you could radio each other. What were they? There was a phone.
Yeah, the Nextel.
The Nextel. That's what it was.
Those? I had one.
I remember the big story I had is during 9/11 we had some of them, and the Nextel phones were the big thing because nobody could get through on the cellular networks, and everybody. People were able to communicate through the Nextels because they were direct.
I'm still around. Nextel's since gone. That network's been long gone too.
Right. I've been on all. I think I've been on every major carrier since inception at this point, and we're on T-Mobile now. We both kind of like it. I mean,
I'm very happy with it.
I mean, it's no better or no worse than the other ones. It's just cheaper, and I like the free Tuesdays things, and it's
T-Mobile Tuesdays, baby.
Yeah, it's good. I got
get your free Whoppers and your free free 10 cents off your gas.
I signed up for 1 month of free car washes. Did you see that one? You could get a membership to car washes for a month and then cancel without being charged. I must have got my car washed about 20 times and then canceled. It was great.
Yeah,
not good for the paint.
So,
whatever.
So it's sad. Any thoughts, Jeff?
Of course, this is going to happen, and T-Mobile has plans for the frequencies that Sprint was using for LTE. So if they're going to repurpose it, they have to shut the old thing down.
Sure do.
Yep.
It'll be fine. I think people will live.
Yeah, and it's not like they didn't know this was coming. I mean, T-Mobile has been saying for, pretty much since they bought Sprint.
Since the merger.
Yeah, this is going to happen. So now we just have a firm date, and there you go.
Well, just get all the Sprint people over to T-Mobile. And I know that's been a bit of a rough spot for them, because I hear a few people had some challenges with getting that switched and got so fed up they left, and it's a shame. But it's hard. It's when you merge two companies, it's always going to be a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Next story. This is a 9to5 Mac. iMazing app is updated with a tool to easily detect the Pegasus spyware on an iPhone. You may have heard about Pegasus. We did talk about it a few times here, which is a spyware created by the NSO group based on a 0-day vulnerability to collect data from smartphones without user consent. Well, now iMazing, which is an awesome app, has updated its app to include a new tool that can easily detect the Pegasus spyware on the iPhone. And Jeff, you just said you've been running it on your phone, and what did you encounter?
Well,
he's a spy.
Yeah.
That you're a spy.
Well, now you know, and I have to kill you. Great. So I started the whole check about 30 minutes before showtime, and it finished just a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
And it turns out I don't have Pegasus on my phone.
You got a clean bill of health. Awesome.
I got a clean bill of health. But it's cool because it generated a report for me, and I haven't had a chance to go through it yet. But but it's pretty cool because it generates this report, and it's a CSV file. So when it was done, and it said, "Hey, you're fine. We've got this report. Do you want to read it?" And so I said yes, and the next thing I know, Numbers opens, and here's the CSV file that it had generated for me.
Does it say you don't have Pegasus, but Jeff, your mom's still waiting for you to text back?
How did you know?
It read through your entire message list, right? And
yeah.
Now it knows everything.
It knows everything.
It's like, and that picture you sent to that girl, well,
that's right.
Yeah, clean your lens next time. Oh wait, it was clean.
Lens.
Oh.
Yeah.
But iMazing is an awesome product. I've had a license for a really long time, and we actually have a link in the show notes here. Thank you, Jeff, for putting that in there. For Slick Deals.
That was me.
Oh, was that you?
Yeah.
Oh, was you? Okay, I thought it was Jeff. I should have known that.
Yeah.
I didn't see you in there. That's why it threw me off.
That's all right.
iMazing is for $12 through Slick Deals. So
nice.
There's a link in the show notes. Hopefully that link will stay up for a little bit. So that's like about 40% off. And what the great thing about iMazing is it just does a full out backup for you, and you have a lot more tools that you can get to your iPhone and be able to download things and download voicemails if you want, and all kinds of other fun stuff. So check it out.
That's feature
we
long.
talked about before.
Did you mention that the free version of iMazing has the Pegasus tool in it also?
Yeah, it's.
No, I did not. No. Okay. Yes, so it does. Yes.
And I was just going to say the best feature that I use for iMazing is you could easily pick where you want to back up your backup to. Right. So if you're running out of room on your internal drives, you could easily back it up to an external drive through iMazing compared to the normal way. So.
Yep. Next story, Mac Rumors, Apple's website gained redesigned store section of a dedicated store tab. Following a short downtime, it was kind of strange in the middle of the week this past week as we record this. That
We're all nervous and excited. Yeah, we got excited.
Got super excited. Maybe the MacBook Pro 16-inch is coming out after all. Yeah. But no, what it was is a new store tab that was in the top navigation on the bar of their website, which goes to a dedicated online store portal where customers can select from a product carousel with cards that include Mac, iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, and more, AirPods, and more. The design is actually just like the Apple Store app on the iPhone, and the main page also features current deals, promotions, and such. I mean, I think it's a long time coming. I think, honestly, don't you think, Jeff? This was I really was very surprised that it took this long to finally make it a little more friendly.
Well, first, they never should have taken the store tab away. Because you remember there used to be one.
Yeah,
that's true.
And
that is right.
They took it away, which was so stupid.
It's like you have to click on buy to actually get it. It doesn't matter what you want to buy. You just have to buy somewhere to get into that store, which is really not intuitive.
Yeah.
It was cute, confusing too.
Yeah.
And doing a refresh to the front of the store page is great, but I'm really, really disappointed with it because it's clearly set up for a touch device. Because instead of scrolling up and down, you have to swipe sideways across everything.
Yeah, you're right.
It's as soon as I saw it, I was really surprised because it's a bad design.
And well, you would want to mention it maybe that the Apple hand codes all their web pages.
Apple, that they're doing custom in-house code for their whole website. So when they went to update something, the site has to go down.
That is crazy. That is crazy. And that's
what do you think, Warren?
That's the biggest part of the story is that they actually have to take a website down to make a change to it for that long too. But I looked at the site. I haven't really played around with it too much, but I did find the old design confusing. When you want to buy something, you have to go into the buy tab for that. But I was disappointed when it came back up with nothing. I think they added the new keyboard to it too at that point, right? I think it's they added
I believe you're right. The Touch ID keyboard was
right. So,
Touch ID keyboard is available now.
Yeah,
with for M1.
Yep. It probably works on an iPad. I wonder if it works on an iPad. With the M1.
Well,
I don't know.
It'll work with an iPad, no problem. I don't know if the Touch ID.
The Touch ID.
Well, that's quite. I haven't heard. If you have the M1 iPad, I wonder if it actually will unlock.
Oh, the M1 iPad. That's right.
Yep. I'm curious.
Well, Warren, looks like you're going to have to buy one just so we can.
Now I have to first, just like you have to scan your phone for Pegasus. I have to buy one of these for science.
I'll let you buy it this time. I'm buying too many things.
I thought about it for a minute, and then I thought, I'm good.
And now it turns out you're not good. So
let someone else tell us that it works or not.
Yeah.
Next story, Mac Rumors, the titanium Apple Watch Series 6 models are currently widely unavailable. Models of the Apple Watch Series 6 with titanium cases as part of the Apple Watch Edition collection is currently widely unavailable for pickup in many of Apple retail stores across the United States and is unavailable entirely for delivery in major markets. This was noted in Bloomberg's Mark Gurman's. He leaked the latest edition of his Power On newsletter. Titanium models of the Apple Watch Series 6, which were starting at $799, is currently listed as unavailable. So what is this telling us? You also have to remember back, let's say, the Series 0 and Apple introduced that $17,000 gold Apple Watch that everybody bought, right? But the ones who did buy it, it became an obsolete piece of hardware. So is Apple is starting to now finally realize that these more expensive watches are not attractive because the technology changes so much? I think it is. What do you think, Jeff?
I think that's a real possibility. I think that there's also a possibility that since the higher price watch doesn't sell in the same volume, they can ramp down sales on that ahead of new watch releases earlier than they can the mainstream Apple Watches. But then there's also the pandemic factor. A lot of people have forgotten we're actually still in the middle of a pandemic, and there are supply issues just across the board for everything. So if Apple is having issues getting enough titanium for the watch frames, and it doesn't sell as well, and we're getting closer to a new watch release, it might just be a thing where they're like, if we can't get enough parts or enough materials, let's just go ahead and ramp it down now, and then start stockpiling for the new watch that comes out in a couple months.
Yep. Any thoughts, Warren?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. They probably made 5 of them, and somebody finally bought the 5th one. So it's probably something like that.
So what you're saying is they sold out faster than the original HomePod.
Pretty much. I think, I think they really did not make that many of them. And I think, as you said, there's no reason to have a surplus of them at this point. So they're not manufacturing them at this point. And as soon as the new watch comes out, people won't even look at it unless it really comes down in price. So, I mean, if they drop one, if you could get one at half price for one of these titaniums that are, on a fire sale, maybe, but not a lot of people are going to buy an older generation watch at that price, I don't think.
No. Yeah, and good luck finding one in the store.
Yeah, you won't even find one.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our topics for this week. As we always talk about, beta iOS 15 beta 4 continues this week. Nothing has really changed in that world of beta, and I keep seeing a lot of articles posted out there talking about some of the different things that they're finding, and one of them was interesting. Here is the latest iOS 15 beta appears to be automatically removing lens flare in photos in certain conditions, which I find it to be interesting, because I always have a challenge when I take a picture of a lens flare, especially when the sun is reflecting off of it or something of that matter. So as they prepare to launch this, as the article says in Mac Rumors, the operating system to millions of iPhone users, the latest beta is seemingly improving how the users' iPhone take and process photos in certain lighting conditions. That's why I say something to probably test to see what that happens. I'm assuming, Warren, you haven't really tried this yet?
I haven't tried it, but I definitely have photos that have the lens flare in them, and it's annoyed me because it's that little red mark in the middle of nowhere kind of, right. Yeah. So it'd be nice to get rid of that. Yep.
Jeff, of course, you don't have it, so and I don't really. The only phone I have is the one I use for my camera here. So I haven't really tried it. So, list any thoughts on this?
Well, I've got developer beta on a couple iPads, so I should play with it on my iPad Pro and see if it's doing anything to improve lens flare issues.
So the three of us should just go out and take our phones out into the sun and
I'll take my 10 hour here and take
pictures of the sun and see what happens.
Or I can get my 12.9 inch iPad Pro and look like a dork and hold it up like
That's
this.
what I'm going to have to do, but I'll look like slightly less of a dork because it's a 10 inch.
Yeah.
You look like a foreign tourist is what you look like.
Yes.
It is. Yes.
The other thing that I saw Apple is starting to is going to be highlighting App Store events in iOS 15. They're experimenting with App Store events in iOS 15 devices. In the Today view of the App Store on the iPhone, and user can see a notice about a TikTok summer camp event that's set to take place, as this was published this past couple days ago. Listed as a card in the Today view. It's the first App Store event has labeled with the time that it takes to place and link a download to TikTok to get more people to get on TikTok, right? So maybe this is something that's going to start happening. If they're going to start highlighting types of events that occur, and maybe developers are going to look to to want to have events to get generate more interest in their apps. What do you think, Jeff?
Yes, I think this could be good for developers, and I can see where they would want to be. Wow, I can see where they would want to be involved in this, because anything that Apple can do to improve discoverability is a good thing, because it kind of sucks. And if they can improve discoverability on the App Store, maybe that will spill over to the music side as well, and we'll see better discoverability over there. So I guess that's my ulterior motive to being excited about this, because I have this fantasy that it's going to ultimately improve music.
I'm hoping. We're going to talk about that in just a bit here. And then other thing that Apple is looking at is just doing a little more security and protection. This new feature that's scanning messages for nude photos only for children, and parental notifications limited to kids under 13. Which, we could joke, nude photos, we want those scanned, right? But this is kind of serious, because you don't want these young kids being exploited to that kind of material. So they have a new child safety initiatives that's going to come alongside that latest release of iOS 15 and iPadOS 15, as well as Mac OS Monterey too, aiming to keep children safer online. One of the features is a communication safety and has raised privacy concerns because it allows Apple to scan images sent and received by the Messages app for sexually explicit content. And it does have a pop-up, and it's cool because it's using emojis to get the kids, and it makes them kind of look at this and says, this could be sensitive to view. Are you sure? It's your choice, but your parents want to know you're safe. So I think it's a good thing. I mean, I'm glad Apple is doing this kind of stuff. Don't you think?
It's a can of worms that's going on, right? I don't know if you're...
It is. It's going to be.
If you're reading the whole thing right now. But, I mean, if you start reading it, there's a lot going on, too. The messaging thing has to be turned on by the parent. You have to be under 13 for it to happen. You get notified, and that's all good. The whole initiative has a lot of things going on, and the big thing is about the iCloud photos, the iCloud photo algorithm now, that they could actually do on-device scanning of your phone to see if there's any cross-reference of any known child pornographic image or images in it, and then it could potentially notify somebody about that. So this is going to be a topic going forward. I think a lot of people are worried about it. My feeling is there's just so many other platforms that people could use right now if you really want to be deviant. If the kids want to send nude pictures, they're going to use Snapchat. If the perverts want to have pictures, they're going to use a different photo system than the phone. So it's sad, and you really want everybody to... It is sad. You want to have everybody be on board with Apple and maybe say, hey, this is a good idea. Let's kind of do the same thing with all these, Snapchats and all the other things to go along with it, which would be great. But you're going to have a lot of, we're going to get into the whole privacy versus humanity issue, which is going to be the same as the San Bernardino shooters kind of issue with privacy versus humanity. So, how much is our privacy? How important is our privacy when it comes to protecting children or each other? And that's what we're going to be talking about in the future.
Absolutely. Any thoughts, Jeff?
Warren, I love what you said. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was very good.
Yeah. So the thing that I really like about the way Apple is doing this, and Warren, you mentioned it, they're using on-device scanning, from what I understand, which is great for protecting your privacy. The big omission that I see in what Apple is doing here is they set this up so that it's part of parental controls, and it's targeted at protecting children. There are so many adult women out there that get unsolicited dick pics.
Yep.
Yeah.
On airplanes with AirDrop.
Yeah.
Yeah, AirDrop.
Yeah, it would be so great if there was a way to enable this, just like a system-wide thing for anyone. so that you have a built-in screening system so that unwanted images like that are just like filtered out for you. I think that would be awesome. Now, what consenting adults do, hey, totally fine with that. So if you and your friends want to send nudes to each other, and you're all okay with it, have at it, send away. But once there's no consent, or you have someone that's underage, having a system in place that makes it easier to protect people, I'm all for that.
Yeah, especially if you could turn it on and off on your own. That's exactly. I mean, people will fight if it's forced upon you because it's censorship. It's it's
or invasion of privacy.
I'm a parent. I don't mind if my 12-year-old sees this and don't tell me how to parent. Kind of thing. So you're going to get a lot of that. But if it's something that you could control, it could be powerful.
Absolutely, absolutely. So good going, Apple. And we appreciate it. Next topic I want to talk about. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Apple Watch this week. I wanted to kind of examine what apps we use the most and how we're really using them. And do we have any other app favorites? I was thinking about this a little bit, and I think probably the more primary apps that I use all the time is I do use the phone a fair amount, because when my wife calls me and I want to, and especially if she calls I'm laying down or something, I don't want to have to pick the phone up, and I can just bring it right next to me and, are you on your watch? But people say this. It sounds really, really good. Considering
it does.
And then messages is the other one. I think those are probably the two biggest ones that most of us use these days. And I think there's a lot of others. Jeff, where do you go as far as your Apple Watch, and what's your key apps that you like to use?
Well, I use the S Lady a lot on the watch.
Yep.
Because I've found that it is much more reliable to talk to my watch than it is to stand in the middle of my living room and have an argument with my HomePod about which light it was just supposed to turn on. So it gets used for that a lot. It's notifications. That's a big thing for me.
Yeah.
And occasionally I'll actually respond to messages from my watch. But primarily, it's a content filtering system for me, and it lets me leave my phone in my pocket, and I'm not getting buried under notifications, because if my pocket's vibrating, I can ignore it. If my wrist is vibrating, I know it's something that I should look at relatively soon. So it's good for that, and then the apps that get used a lot on it, aside from that, Dark Sky, Pedometer Plus, so that I can show my step count right on the watch face, and AirVisual, because I live in an area where we have to deal with wildfire smoke a substantial portion of the year, and so I can just look at my watch face, and like right now, the AQI is 116, which makes sense considering I can't see the mountains.
Is that good or bad? I guess it's bad.
That's bad.
All right.
Yeah. When you hit 50, that you're kind of in that moderate area, and sensitive people need to be aware. Once you get over 100, that's getting kind of bad, and if you're sensitive, it's going to be a problem for you, and by the time you get to 150, that's really bad. And the scale, I think, goes up to 500.
Yikes! Yeesh. That's like Dante's Inferno. If you're in the 500,
it's like Dante's
right?
Inferno. Yeah.
Pretty
And
much,
last year, when we were up over 250, at times, I mean, it was awful. You couldn't hardly see across the street, and
or breathe, for that matter.
You couldn't hardly breathe. And
it comes out west. Your fires, we start to see them from over here in the east. We start to see the leftover from you guys.
Yep. Well, most of the smoke we have right now is, I don't think, from our local fires.
No, that's over from California.
The West Coast.
Yeah, and we're seeing that too. Yeah. Cool.
What do you do? What do you use your Apple Watch for as far as apps for?
It's funny you said when your wife calls and things like that. One of my most favorite things about the watch is my wife. she has a Series 4, and she stopped kind of wearing it because of working from home and COVID and all that. So the most fun I ever have is when my wife's phone is like in another room and her phone goes off and she starts running out on it, and I'm like staring there with my arms like this. I'm like, if you had your watch, you wouldn't have to be running upstairs to get your phone because you can. So that's a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
But,
That's awesome.
But my about 3 months ago, I went with the Do Not Disturb switch lifestyle on my phone, which with the watch is just awesome, because I used to, before that it was ding dong, and I would, constantly, be hearing noises from my phone. And I'm like, one day I'm just like, let's just turn the switch off and see what happens. And so far, just getting the buzzes on my wrist, or a ding here and there on my wrist, is so much better than having to listen to, going to the phone to have to listen to the notifications. Doesn't bother other people. Every time somebody would text me, my wife would say, "Who's texting you?" And I don't have to deal with that kind of stuff. So, it's just so the notifications without having to use a phone really is the best part of it. I still don't really use too many apps, but I do everything that Apple really wants me to do with it. As far as the Apple Pay, I use it all the time on my watch. I use notifications. I respond to text messages. I respond to you can do Facebook Messenger now on it too, pretty good. We use Teams at work like you do, Dave, and you can respond on your watch for Teams, and that's something I use a lot too. So it does.
Good idea.
Yeah. So it does. It's basically more of a notification communication device for me, more so than an information thing.
I'm using the wallet a lot. Whenever I go to a store now, I just go right up to the scanner, and it's like, just boop boop boop, and it's always so much easier for me. And I have it on a debit card. I have a nice thing is I can go in. I have multiple cards that are in the wallet, so I can just choose. I don't want to put on a credit card. Let's put on a debit card, so it just paying like cash.
ATMs have them too now. Have you seen them?
Yeah. Yeah. Like Chase. Chase has it. I just go right like that if I want to get cash. And, so that in itself is worth it. I think you still have to put your PIN in, but at least now you don't have to stick the card in anymore. Right. To do that. But I always get a kick out of people because there's so many people that still don't have a watch, and it's like, I got to get me one of those. And every time I go into like a drive-through or a place, it's like, wow, that's so cool.
That's so cool. Yeah.
There's still people. There's still people that say, "I got to get
what
one."
Apple Pay is. Yeah, they generally don't even have a clue what Apple Pay is. So it is kind of funny. But some of the health things are good. I like the fact of having the heart monitor and the ECG, where checking for making sure you don't have AFib, and that's something I do use frequently. But surprisingly enough, the calculator also sometimes comes in handy too if you want to do the calculator. Now the buttons are kind of small. Yeah, the regular calculator is on here, and sometimes I do that. I did start playing around a little bit with News Plus, and it does have quickie story views that you can go through and scroll through them real quick, and then you can actually go in and say save for later, go to the next story. It'll just get a very, very brief synopsis. Yeah, granted the screen's a little small to be reading that, but the text is pretty big, and another good thing. Some people use it from.
You get news alerts.
And you can get alerts.
You get news alerts.
You can get news alerts on the watch, and you also can. And podcasting, you want to listen to podcasts, you can. I don't find that to be super appealing, because then of course you have to get it synced to your AirPods and want to be able to listen to it. I'm not listening to podcasts. I'll just listen to it on my iPhone. But I think they've done a really good job. A lot of good apps. A lot of developers have been pretty smart with extending what they can do on the Apple Watch as well as on the iPhone. Good stuff. That's a good way to really talk about some of the stuff that the Apple Watch can do. But the other thing I talk about too is the bands, and I talked about this on Mac Voices the other night. I pulled out my big bundle. I've done that before. I think a lot of us have the big bundle of watch bands. I know you do, Warren. Don't you have a case to hold your watch bands?
I do, and one side is like nice Apple branded ones, and the other side is like Amazon crap. But for the most part, I've been pretty happy with the Amazon stuff, with the Apple stuff rather than the Amazon stuff. But yeah. And since my son has one too, he's starting to mooch off my collection as well, so he's getting into it as well. So and it's been a while since I got one. I think the last band I got is actually the one I'm wearing, which is the solo loop, the one piece solo loop from Apple.
I absolutely love this band. And I'm so glad I bought it. I haven't changed this band in probably 6 months. Since I got this thing.
I keep thinking about getting that band.
It's good for summer if you're swimming. It's very waterproof.
Nike bands.
They're good too. Yeah,
I got one of those too. It's in the collection.
All the Apple branded ones are really well made. I mean, they're my favorite one is I do have the Black Link one, which I got with my Series 2 and I kept forever. It's just that's the beautiful. That's a $400 one, but I got it used for $200, but it's really an awesome band. There are sales going on too. If you keep looking, today even the leather bands are on Amazon for $20 off, I think. So if you want to get the leather loop ones, they're there. So can't have too many. I just hope Apple doesn't change the design, I guess.
And you know what? That's the awesome thing about this. Think about it. The watch bands have been good, have fit every single model of Apple Watch since Series 0. I mean, you can, you had the bigger size. You have that even if you had the 42 millimeters, and now it's 44. All the bands fit the watch, and I have bands, that are left over from when I had, Series 2 and Series 1. I did have a Series 0, and all the bands work, which is surprising, and that I applaud Apple for that because it's people don't want to spend a ton of dough on this watch sometimes, and it definitely is something that I'm pretty impressed that Apple does. So you don't change your bands at all, Jeff, at all?
I do. I just don't change them very often.
Me either.
Which is kind of funny because I have a lot of bands. And
okay, so you're in our same club.
Oh, I'm definitely in the same club, and I actually have more third-party bands than Apple bands. And
that's pretty common.
I think I do too. Yeah, I mean,
and
you just see one on sale, you're like, I don't need it, but why not?
Yeah, no, I totally get it. You need a wide range of we need a wide range of bands because like just general all around use, something like this, or the band that both of you have. It's great. But if you're doing something where you need to be a little more dressy, well, depending on what kind of dressy determines which of your nicer bands you're going to use.
Yeah.
Well, I've got the blue watch, so you got to make sure you got the band that looks kind of matching with it. But that's pretty tough if you have a black band or the silver. I have the silver millies, the silver millies loop. I have that one. I bought that on a clearance because I think Apple stopped selling that one.
The amazing part is that nobody thought about this system of putting the bands on a watch until Apple did. I mean, watches have been around for 300 years, and it's always been the stupid
difficult.
The bar system or the link system.
Pins.
I mean, I mean,
those little pins.
Even like Swatch in the 80s, you would think they would have come up with something like that because that's like totally up their alley, like their little snap-on, slap-on things. But it's just amazing how Apple's like, well, we want to sell bands and we want to be able to easily swap one with the watch, and it was just stupidly simple of how they did it.
Yeah.
So,
but that's so Apple. I mean,
it is.
Apparently, it didn't occur to anyone that it would be nice to have an easier to use system for swapping out band segments or entire bands.
Yep.
And then Apple comes up with the system we have now, and it's so obvious, but it wasn't obvious until Apple actually did it.
Yep. I mean, it's mind blowing how. And at first, people were like, really? You could just, how that was a big. How do you change the bands? No, you just push this one button and you slide it out. It was amazing. It's totally amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I had people ask me, well, yeah, you push it in, but do you have to buy a special tool from Apple? No, you just use your finger.
Just use your finger, and it's so easy. Which is just awesome.
I mean, maybe throughout the series 0 through 5, I've had maybe 1 or 2 problems where like it was tight and wouldn't come out, and I really had to pry it open or something like that. Maybe with a third-party band here and there, but for the most part, it works. It's been really good.
Now, speaking of a health device, because of course the Apple Watch is a health device, but it does so much more, as we just talked about. I had a listener question come in this week. It was from who of course sent the email to feedback@intouchwithios.com. Chris asked, how would you be able to manage a Fitbit on iOS? And well, I'm not too well versed in Fitbit, but I did get some good information here. And the fact that Fitbit does have its own app, so it does manage the device very easily. And I have a link here in the show notes about the Fitbit Health and Fitness app, but it does not sync with Apple Health, the health app on the Apple Watch, and on the iPhone. So that might be a little more of a challenge, but I did find one. There are so many of them out there that are third party. This specific one was the Power Sync for Fitbit, and they have it's a in-app purchase, and I believe you can spend like $10 or something, and it'll be like open forever. But this will actually copy all the data from the Fitbit app and then move it over to the Health app, and then give you some potential options to take advantage of the Health app, but don't use a Fitbit. Use an Apple Watch.
I've helped people convert from a Fitbit to an Apple Watch, and I've used some of those apps to do that, because what it does, it will convert the Fitbit data over to Apple Health, and then they get rid of the Fitbit.
Absolutely.
I talked with Fitbit people a few years ago at CES. Actually, every year at CES after the Apple Watch came out, I had the same discussion with the Fitbit people, which was, when are you going to support HealthKit? And the short answer is never.
Never. Now Google will say Google will say never. Sorry.
Yeah. So the longer answer is that Fitbit loves having their silo. And once you're in that Fitbit ecosystem, like, there's so many things that can feed into it, but it won't feed back out, and that's by design. And so if they created a link back into HealthKit, then that tears down the walls to their silo, and they do not want that. And they also don't want to comply with the privacy and security requirements that come along with hooking into HealthKit.
Yep.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So it's just not going to happen.
So Chris, get an Apple Watch.
Yeah, but if you really want a Fitbit, then you're going to have to use one of those bridging apps that, like David.
Yes, you are. Absolutely.
Or get a Google Watch, the Google Wear Watch, if you want to do that. Not a Google phone, I guess, because that's what it ties into.
Well, and thanks for your question, and thanks for listening, and you too can ask questions here of our panel for each week, and that's feedback@intouchwithios.com. I wanted to mention I'm kind of excited about this. It's not really iOS related, but it kind of is. I now have a new Samsung 32-inch monitor sitting on my desk right now, and I'm looking at it. I never thought in a million years I would get one of these, but I was able to get one of these, and I'm telling you, this thing is pretty amazing. Nice the fact that I can have like all these windows scattered everywhere, and I still have space left, and the resolution is just absolutely amazing. It was at 3880 by, 800 or something like that. But the resolution is pretty amazing. I have a link in the show notes. The image is super crisp. But you know what? I tried to actually connect this to an iPad, and boy, oh boy, is the image just amazing on the iPad. I have an OWC adapter that converts out an HDMI. Plug that into my iPad, and it was just amazing. I want to sit and just make a primary device for a day and see how I can handle it, because it really is really slick. So check it out. I think it's an awesome monitor. And Jeff, you have a 34-inch monitor, right?
I have a 34-inch monitor, and there's an argument for saying, well, why don't I just use 2 displays or get a second display and use my laptop display? But sure, you can absolutely do that. And I did that for a long time. But then when I got my 34-inch display and I could have everything on this really wide screen, it actually changed how I interact with the apps on my Mac. And I found that it was much easier for me to keep track of what I have open, and I felt like I was more productive. And there are studies out there. Sorry, I can't name any off the top of my head right now, but there's studies out there that talk about productivity using multi monitors versus one really big monitor, and getting one big monitor is a productivity boost for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And the other thing too, this monitor has the picture by picture mode as well as picture in picture. Picture by picture, actually, you can use the 2 HDMI inputs, and you can have 2 computers hook up to one computer, which is no big deal, because you could do that by toggling between them. But you can have both computer screens side by side, perfectly split 50-50 on this screen, and you could be being productive in 2 different computers, or you could have an iPad on one screen and then your Mac on the other, and even do it that way if you wanted to. So.
All right, so I'm about to get you super excited about that. So
Okay.
Imagine having your iPad on half the screen and your Mac on the other half of the screen.
Yep.
You're running iOS 15 and Monterey, so you have continuity, and so now you're just dragging
universal access.
Universal access. So you're dragging between the 2 devices on the same screen in real time.
Yeah. Yep. I can't wait.
You're just gonna want to feel like you want to touch it, because I did that. I hooked up my iPad to a monitor once too, and I'm like, this is really cool. Oh yeah, I can't do that. But
you can't touch.
But yeah,
can't touch this.
You can't touch. But I bet there are touchscreen monitors out there that work with, if you hook a Mac up to it, and probably the iPad, it will work. If you want to try it out.
And you can get kits that mount around the edge of your screen.
To make it touch screen.
They work for navigation, but I don't know if they work for taps.
Right. It's just endless.
I just got reading glasses instead of the big screen, because it's cheaper.
That is true, but it's a cool thing. So, other thing I want to talk about real quick is about iTunes Match. Do we really need it at this point? There's an article that just came out this past week on Mac Rumors of users having some frustrating widespread issues in being able to sync their libraries and being able to using iTunes Match. If anybody's not familiar with iTunes Match it is a subscription service that allows you to be able to upload music that you own to Apple servers, and then if you happen to have a lower bit rate, you can go back and download a higher bit rate version of that song. It's probably early 2000s, maybe even going back that way, because these days not a lot of, I still have my I'm sure you do too, Jeff, and more too, if you have hard drives filled of all these MP3s of music that you ripped over the years and used Napster, which I do, and a lot of the music I had was a lot of ripped CDs that I had over the years. And the one thing it is, and Apple Music has got a lot better, it just has so many different artists, and there may be something obscure that you really like that you might not be able to find that was out there. But I seem to pretty much find it on Apple Music all the time. So I'm thinking this whole story really is telling us, is Apple finally going to discontinue it? Yeah, granted, I've been wasting my money and paying $24.99 a year for iTunes Match and probably don't use it as much as I used to back in the day. Granted, it's still called iTunes, and iTunes doesn't even exist anymore. So that kind of has to tell you has to tell you right there. This might be an issue. Go ahead, Warren.
Well, I was just going to say, somebody asked the exact same question a couple of days ago on the Mac to Future page, and they said, I have iTunes Match, and I'm thinking about getting Apple Music. And initially I wrote back and said, you should probably keep it, because, if there's something on Apple Music that's not available on Apple Music, then you can have it. But then I thought about it, and just like you said, I don't know if there's really anything left unless you have something really obscure. And even if you do, even if you have something like really obscure, like a recording that's not available, I don't know if Apple Match even works on that, because they have to have it. They have to have the version of it somewhere. Doesn't. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it's doing for me at this point either, to be honest with you.
I mean, and I've seen people gripe about how iTunes Match has messed up their library, and they had it perfectly. I mean, that's pretty typical when you made a library. These days, I said, at this point, why do you want a library? I mean, you have everything at your fingertips through Apple Music at this point, but there are people, and I still have them. I mean, I maintain a playlist of every Billboard chart from basically from 1955 to today, and I have all the top 100 songs in playlists in my library that I'm able to go to and listen. It's a lot of fun because Billboard's been around for so long, and I'm a big kind of a Billboard aficionado because I like. If you see the books I have over here, I have a whole library of books of Joel Whitburn's charts and books that he's got for all the Billboard stuff. So those are kind of playlists you really can't get. So that's the thing. I think a lot of people like me who like to create those types of playlists that are much more customizable than what Apple's going to do for you. So that's. You hope that Apple Music's still going to be able to allow you to do that, but I think iTunes Match I think its days is numbered.
Well, you still can. I mean, Apple Music will allow you to create whatever playlist you want, and I actually what I've been doing is on my phone at least I download all the music. I have the songs I want in Apple Music, and I download them all to my phone basically whenever I get it. If you create a playlist. And put all your music in there, it's easy enough just to hit one button and say download all. I just do that just so I have it in case I'm out of a service area or on an airplane or something like that. But yeah, it's you could easily create a playlist in Apple Music and do pretty much the same thing that you were doing before.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're getting close to time here. I wanted to actually have you, Jeff. We talked about this on Mac Voices Live, but I said I was going to say that's going to be our app of the week, and I wanted you to tell everybody about AirVisual.
AirVisual. Okay, yeah. So AirVisual is an app that you can get for iOS. I assume it's available for Android as well. And what it does is it gives you the AQI or air quality index for wherever you want. And if you live in a place, which is, at this point, if you live on the planet Earth, the air quality index actually kind of matters because like where I am, we're in the middle of forest fire season. It's like basically spring until January, it seems, is forest fire season. So there's smoke in the air all the time. Like when we started recording this evening, the AQI here in Boulder was 116, and still is. And that's because there's so much forest fire smoke, and I can't see the mountains, and I live right up against the mountains, so I should be able to see them. So AQI is great because it'll give you alerts when the air quality index goes above thresholds that you've set, and it has an Apple Watch complication as well. So, like for me, I just kind of look at my watch like this, and that's how I knew that AQI is currently 116. And it's a fantastic app. You can get air quality index forecasts. You can store multiple locations in it. So
Yep.
you can keep track of the AQI, all the different places you go. And it's a fantastic app. Bonus, it is
Sure is.
free.
I have to thank you too, because I've seen the AQI listed on a couple Windows machines and other places, and I had no idea what it was. I thought somebody had Spanish calendar on or something like that.
I were thinking aquí.
I thought maybe it was like a day of the month in Spanish. I honestly had no idea what that was. So there you go, learned something new.
Yeah, it's good. It's a great app. I've looked, and our air quality here is 50, so I'm in good shape here.
You are. Yeah.
How do you find out? Can you find out just in the weather app too?
Yeah. So there you go. You can see it's 116 right now.
Crazy.
So I've got the little orange bar letting me know that it's unhealthy out there, and it could get up to 150 later tonight. So at that point, you should really be wearing a face mask.
Wear that mask.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Thanks, Jeff. I'm glad you were able to give us a bit of a review of that app. I got pretty excited. I think it's an awesome app, and it's a must-have, I think, for anybody.
Agree. It's a must-have.
It really is. So let's go ahead and wrap things up for this week. Time has just flown by here, and that's another show. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, just like Chris did, at feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter at InTouchWithIOS, or you can also go to our YouTube page at youtube.com/DaveG65. You can subscribe to your favorite podcatcher, including Apple Podcasts and many others. But better yet, just go to our website at InTouchWithIOS.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter at DaveG65. And Jeff, thanks as always for being here. We always love having you. Where can everybody find you?
Well, first, thanks for having me back. It's always so much fun to hang out with both of you, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm Gamet both places. YouTube.com/JGamet for the how-to and review videos that I am making. Most Tuesdays, Mac Voices Live, and most Thursdays on The Big Show. And as we're recording tomorrow morning on The Mac Show.
And I'll be there with you.
I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. And Lauren, you do Mac to the Future, and you are there, and we have it's a great Facebook group. Anything you want to share?
No, just come hang out on Facebook. Even if you hate it, just join the group. It's fun. You don't even have to use your old name. We don't care. Thanks, Jeff, for coming. We always appreciate it. I will be away next week because of in-law issues, but otherwise you can find me.
Issues?
My house is being invaded tomorrow.
Yeah, it would be quiet.
By everybody, so I'll be hiding. So actually, you won't be able to find me in the next couple days. Nobody will be able to find me. So
we need to
start wondering if you're on What Mac to Future.
So we can figure out where he is.
You'll have to install Pegasus on my phone to find me. So.
Okay. On that note, thanks everybody for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. We enjoyed bringing it to you, and we'll talk again soon.